Hello, everyone. This is Doug Davis with Granby Realty, broker in charge, and here with another talk about an Ask Doug topic. And I was just asked this last week, and it was someone wanting to know really what as is meant. And my response was, as is has as many meanings as there are people on this planet. In other words, everyone has their own idea of what as is means. So I've experienced sellers who say, well, I'm not paying for termite because I sold it as is. I'm not paying for documents. I'm not paying for a survey. I'm not fixing anything. So that was the most extreme one that I've heard about. I've had people say we sold it as is so people don't call us after closing to fix things. That's interesting. And I have had people call up to a year after closing and say, my oven doesn't work. Can the seller fix it? A year later. Interesting. I think for most people, it means that they don't have to fix a switch or a plug or a burner on an oven. They sold it as is, so they don't want to do the little things. And I found that most people don't do those little things because they don't know who to call or where to go or how to do it or what's involved or having to wait for 4-hour window for the vendor to come and show up or not show up. So for some, it also means a limit of liability. Well, we sold it to you as is, so don't come back to me next year, 5 years, and say that you want me to fix something or the wall's broken or the roof leaks now. No, you bought it as is and it's yours. So what happens, someone asked me about the roof leaked a day after closing. It apparently rained that night and it started leaking. And it hadn't leaked before as far as we could discover. And it's just, a pipe can break at any time, right? And that's what I call the joy of ownership. So you kind of have to take this lightly for some of this stuff. Joy of ownership, it's on your watch, it's on your tab. So, but again, it's mostly about not wanting to fix things. So plumbing, electrical, mechanical devices in the home. So, we have an as-is addendum that we use in the industry. It's a Hawaii Association standard form. And on number 2, it says very specifically and in all caps, seller is not obligated to make any repairs or upgrades. I don't think anyone ever reads this form, and yet it's attached as a limit of liability for the most part. But if anyone would take the time to read it, it says seller is not obligated to make any repairs or upgrades, and probably signed by the buyer and seller. And yet we get a fix list after the home inspection and they want, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, even though they agreed not to give a list because they signed an as-is addendum. So go figure, where did that come from? That's most of the concepts I've come across with the as-is addendum. And if you do get someone that gives a fix list after the fact, even though they signed an as-is addendum, you can say no, but you might risk losing the buyer. But market's pretty strong, so you could find another, but then you have to start over and start the timeline again. So I don't know how that's to go. It's an individual thing and how you want to play it. But hope that helps. That's what an as-is addendum is, and the various definitions. I just did a half a dozen or so, and I do say that there are thousands of interpretations of what this means. So I hope that was helpful. Until next week with another session of Ask Doug. Keep the questions coming. Thanks.